Does it make a difference whether your teacher believes that you are a high performer or a low performer? That you are a late bloomer, that even though you haven't demonstrated your intellectual ability, you will blossom. Or you're not a good student or you're a good student. Psychologist Robert Rosenthal and school principal Lenore Jacobson did a remarkable study some years ago in which they told school teachers, elementary school teachers, that on the basis of some psychological tests, some of their students, some of the children in their class were designated as late bloomers. Even though they hadn't shown any academic success, they are expected to bloom. The amazing thing is that in a very short time, the teachers began to treat those children differently than the other kids. Those kids began to think of themselves differently, and in the end, they actually performed significantly better than the other kids. They were transformed by the teacher's positive expectations, the opposite of Jane Elliott's study, in which teachers' negative expectations that the teacher infused led them to think of themselves as inferior. So let's see the Pygmalion effect in action in these classrooms set up by Rosenthal and Jacobson.
Positive expectations can change a person's perception of a situation just as dramatically as negative expectations. Psychologists call this the Pygmalion effect, after the George Bernard Shaw play of the same name, in which even an uneducated ragamuffin can be transformed into a proper society lady. In an experiment conducted at an elementary school like this one, psychologist Robert Rosenthal and school principal Lenore Jacobson took the Pygmalion effect one step further.
What we wanted to show was the extent to which teachers' expectations could actually affect pupils' intellectual performance, for example, their IQ scores. So what we did was we tested everybody in a school with a test that pretended to be a test that would predict academic blooming, so-called Harvard test of inflected acquisition, and allegedly on the basis of that test, but not really, we gave each of the teachers in the school the names of a handful of children in her classroom that would get smart in the academic year ahead. These kids' names were taken out of a hat. We chose them by means of a table of random numbers. The children themselves did not know in any direct way that teachers were holding certain expectations for them. Teachers were told not to tell the kids, and of course we didn't tell the children either. So the children never knew.
6 times something that's close to 32. Good. 6 times 5.
And then when we tested the children a year later, we found that those kids who'd been alleged to their teachers to be showing or going to show intellectual gains, in fact showed greater intellectual gains than did the children of whom we'd said nothing in particular. So the kids actually got smarter when they were expected to get smarter by their teachers. We've come to feel that there are really 4 factors that operate in the mediation or communication of these self-fulfilling prophecies, especially in the classroom, but not only in the classroom. So what are these 4 things that teachers tend to do differently to kids for whom they have more favorable expectations? The first factor is the climate factor. Teachers tend to create a warmer climate for those children for whom they have more favorable expectations. They're just nicer to them, both in terms of the things they say and also in the nonverbal channels of communication. The other very important factor is the so-called input factor. That one probably won't surprise anyone. Teachers teach more material to those kids for whom they have more favorable expectations. After all, if you think a kid is dumb and can't learn, you're not going to put yourself out to try to teach them very much. 2 other factors, though, make a difference. One is the response opportunity factor. That is, kids get more of a chance to respond if the teachers expect more of them. They call on them more often. When they do call on them, they let them talk longer, and they help and shape with them the answers that the kids speak out, kind of working together to put the response out. The last is feedback. The feedback factor works in this way. As you might expect, if more is expected of a kid, the kid is praised more, positively reinforced more for getting a good answer out. But interestingly enough, is given more differentiated feedback when they get the wrong answer. One of the ways in which you can sometimes tell a little bit that the teacher does not have very high expectations for a kid is that the teacher is willing to accept a low-quality response, or it won't really clarify what would have been a good quality response. Maybe because he or she feels, well, what's the use? The kid's not smart enough to profit from this additional clarification. So those are the four factors: climate, input, response opportunity, and feedback.
The other side of the confidence pickle is about inspiring self-confidence in those you lead.
Can I steal Victor for a minute?
I remember the first time I met Victor. He was a dishwasher in one of our restaurants. He had a great work ethic. He had a great attitude. Everybody loved him. But he did have one small problem. When Victor was 8 years old, he lost an eye in a freak accident. He came from a humble background, so there was never any money for cosmetic surgery. I have to be honest with you, it was a little tough to look at, but so easy to look past. Well, every time we tried to promote Victor from the back kitchen out to the front in the restaurant, he'd turn us down.
Nah, I don't think so. I like it back here. I miss the heat.
Oh, come on. We could use a guy like you out there. You got fast hands and a great smile.
Yeah, well, you know, I just got a good thing going on back here right now.
Okay. Well, think about it some more.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mr. Farrell.
We could guess why, but no one said anything. One day on his break, I caught him watching the fountain crew. In our restaurants, we always set up the ice cream fountain so that all the customers coming in walk past. And our fountain kids always try to put on a little show. As Victor watched this, I could see a big smile come across his face. So I went over and sat down.
It's as fun as it looks.
Huh?
Working the fountain, it's as fun as it looks. Little kids smiling, making people happy. You get to work with cute girls instead of dirty dishes.
Well, it's fun to watch from here, but, you know, I just don't work well under pressure.
Pressure?
I offered him a job working in the fountain. He thought for just a second, and he turned me down. This time I asked him why. He said, I don't belong out there. I can see it on people's faces when they look at me. I said, Victor, I'll make you a bet.
You work the fountain for 1 week with that smile on your face, I'll bet you the only thing people will see is that smile of yours.
I don't think so, Mr. Farrell.
Give it a try. And if what I say isn't true, well, you can keep the pay raise and go back to washing dishes. But I believe you can do this.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Hey, I know a good fountain kid when I see one.
He looked back over the fountain for a minute. Then he turned, and he said to me with a big smile,
Well, you think so?
I do, Victor.
Yes, Victor, I really do. You know what? All of us have a little bit of Victor in us. There's something about ourselves we like to change. We all have walls we've made ourselves, and we can't seem to get over them. Most of them start right here. Henry Ford said, think you can or think you can't. Either way, you'll be right. What we tell ourselves about our future will usually come true, and we can be our own worst enemies. As a leader, you are in a position to change the direction of people's lives by inspiring confidence in themselves. Usually, it's as simple as presenting an opportunity and saying, I believe you can do this. That's all the nudge that most people need. Some people have never heard that their entire life. They need to know that you believe in them.
Bring in the zoo.
Victor turned out to be an amazing fountain kid. People only saw his smile. Then he became one of the most popular waiters. Over the next few years, he went from team leader to manager to regional manager, all because of a little self-confidence pickle.